You are watching a master at work.
Hi guys, it's Lupe from the Lupe Experience with a top 10 list of fragrances for the winter of 2014. Coming in at number 10 is Absolute Pour de Soie from Maison Francis Kurkdjian. And Absolute Pour de Soie is a very rich, boozy, amber, warm fragrance. It's got honey, it's got amber, it's got all these rich incensey notes, and it's a very unique fragrance. This is a fragrance that I really recommend for the winter time. It's very, very unique. It's very niche in its It's quite artsy. It's not one that everyone would love. Definitely not a fragrance that I would recommend to everyone, but it is number 10 on my list, and particularly for that reason, because it's not for everyone, but it has a lot of power to it. It's a very loud fragrance and it lasts a very long time, and the notes are very spicy, very musky, so to speak, and very warm. So it makes number 10 on my top 10 winter fragrances. Coming in at number 9 is Reflection Man from Amouage. In terms of smell, this may very well be the best smelling fragrance on this list. And why would it be just number 9? For a couple of reasons. One, it's not as thick and warming and rich as several others of these. So if the weather is too cold, you might not be smelled with this one on. But that's good because it's a fragrance that would work in even warmer weather and not become too heavy or cloying when it's a little bit warmer. But also it draws a lot of resemblance to a fragrance that's quite common, that's quite popular, that's quite usual, Jean-Paul Gaultier's Le Male. And the price tag difference is quite extreme. So for those reasons, that's why it makes number 9 on this top 10 list. However, it's a fragrance that I love and I adore, and regardless of whatever you may hear about comparisons to Le Male, this is a fragrance that smells way more sophisticated, way more pleasant, way more luxurious, and it will always be in my fragrance list. It comes in at number 9 on my top 10 winter fragrances list. Coming in at number 8 is Rose d'Arabie from Armani Privé, and housed in this beautiful, beautiful flat drum with this gold plated pebble on top is a rose oud combination for the ages. This is a sweet rose oud combination. It has rose, saffron, exotic oud, vanilla, and it smells Middle Eastern, exotic, seductive, and sweet. This is a fragrance that I had an interesting experience with. One of my friends came over, we were going out, and I had so many fragrances. I said, you know what? Let me spray something on you. And one thing I like to do is I like to spray fragrances, my fragrances, on other people, so I get that third person perspective. Rather than smelling myself, I like to know what it's like to be an observer smelling the fragrance of someone. And wow, I was absolutely blown away by the way it smelled and the feelings that it evoked for me. Just a lot of authority and luxury, and it's an amazing, amazing smelling fragrance. It does have richness to it. It does have power. It's long lasting. This would last over 20 hours on the skin. It will project wildly. It's a fragrance that made my starting lineup of fragrances of 2014 one of my favorites to wear on a night out. And so Rose d'Arabie makes number 8 on this list. Number 7 on this list is Tom Ford's Amber Absolute. And Amber Absolute is an apt title for this legendary fragrance. This fragrance unfortunately has been discontinued, and it's getting harder and harder and harder to get a hold of, but it's quite legendary and is well known in the fragrance community and amongst fragrance critics as the best amber-based fragrance ever made. Very rich, very syrupy, full of honey and frankincense. This beautiful African incense note with a lot of labdanum, some molybdenum, resins. It's just smoky, beautiful, smells like church incense with a lot of sweet, sour honey. Explosive. This is one of the most powerful fragrances that you will ever come across. Quite unique, but this is one that I tend to get a lot of compliments when I wear, and definitely performs best during the winter time because of its warming and powerful nature. Amber Absolute coming in at number 7 on this list. Number 6 on this list is Ambre Narguilé from the Hermès collection from Hermès. And this fragrance is a fragrance that I wear every single Thanksgiving and every single Christmas day because it smells a lot like holiday spices. This stuff smells really, really, really good. This smells like a boozy, sweet cinnamon apple pie. Now, if you can conjure that olfactive picture in your mind, it's exactly what this smells like. Very, very edible. It's not a very versatile fragrance, not a fragrance, especially for a man, that you could wear every single day. You could easily get tired of this. I can see that happening. I don't wear it enough to get tired of it, but for the occasions that I wear this for, it performs wonderfully. Just perfect for Thanksgiving and perfect for Christmas. Although it is a fragrance that projects a lot and lasts a long time, it's not very, very thick or very heavy. And for that, a lot of credit has to be given to the perfumer. It's a fragrance that's really good to cut through the cold and really good to perform in cold weather, but it's not very thick and very heavy. So that's a very, very good thing. And this is a lovely fragrance. One that I'm proud to have in my collection. I also love the fact that it has this genuine leather signature orange Hermès cap on. Very, very beautiful. Spicy, gourmet, gourmand Ambre Narguilé from Hermès. At number 5, we have Noir de Noir. One of my all-time favorite fragrances, a staple in my collection. One that works magic, black magic in the winter time. This is a fragrance that smells like roses, dark chocolate, and red wine. And it definitely has a very dark, mysterious, seductive feel to it. It's one that I picture, some sort of gothic, sexy, mysterious, and dark person wearing. Definitely, if you think of like the Twilight vampires and how they take themselves a little bit too seriously with the overbearing sex appeal and mystery that they come with, that's what this fragrance really draws to mind. It's a very sexy fragrance, and one that performs very, very well in the winter time because it does have a little bit of heft to it and it does last a very long time. Noir de Noir, excellent for night out and for dates especially. This is a night out signature fragrance, Noir de Noir. Coming in at number 4 is a newcomer to my collection. Not new in terms of I just got it, but for making a top 10 list, that's quite an accomplishment for a fragrance I've only had for a couple of months. It is Roja Parfums Amber Oud. A very, very unique sort of oud fragrance. What Roja has done is give us a rose oud fragrance with some gourmandish elements to it. It has a lot of fig and jasmine in it, and these smoky notes in it give it a sort of fruity pastry undertone, and it has a boozy feel to it as well. This stuff is beautiful. This is beautiful stuff, guys. And another fragrance reviewer, Greg Fraghead is his name. Subscribe to his channel if you haven't. This is his favorite fragrance of all time. And whenever I mention any fragrance being better than this, he takes it personally and he gets into a heated debate with me. And I can see why, because this is really a special fragrance. It comes with a bloated price tag, but if you can stomach that, or if you can find it for a better price or be gifted this fragrance, you will have a superstar gem. This is incredible. I'm glad I have it in my collection, and this is a fragrance that is definitely worthy of being number 4 in this top 10 list. Coming in at number 3 is the fragrance that I have said I want to be remembered by. I want people to remember this smell when they think of me, if that is a wish that could be fulfilled. It's Tom Ford's Tuscan Leather. It's a masterpiece. It's a leathery, smoky, ultra masculine, sexy fragrance. This is a fragrance that smells like a man's man, but a sophisticated one. Someone aptly described it as a classy badass. That's what it smells like. A man who's very sophisticated and classy, but he can handle his business. He can really get down. Think of Sean Connery's James Bond. That is what this smells like. Very, very masculine, very refined, and one that does very well in the wintertime because it's a powerhouse of a fragrance. Tuscan Leather. If you haven't smelled this, you really need to get your nose on it. It's very, very unique, and it's one that grows on you. Even people who don't like it at first, I fell in love with it on first, but people who don't like it at first really come to love this one. And it is number 3 on this list. Coming in at number 2 is my all-time favorite fragrance. And you must be wondering, why wouldn't this make number 1? Well, because it does not project and spread very far. And it's number 1 for me, but this might not be number 1 for everyone. But it still made number 2. So that's pretty high up on this list. It is Kilian's Back to Black. And this is a beautiful fragrance. It just, smells a lot like honey. There's a pipe tobacco notes there. There's some cherry and raspberry, some chamomile, some labdanum, molybdenum, some resins, and it just smells like honey. And sometimes it has a powdery, soft undertone to it. Very, very dark. The name Back to Black is apt. It's very dark and very sexy. And this is my all-time favorite fragrance. It comes in at number 2 on this list. It's one that's perfect for dates and one that's perfect for seductive occasions. Whenever I'm going out on a date, special occasions sort of thing with my girlfriend, this is definitely one that I reach for, one that I would recommend to you if you're looking for that sort of fragrance in your fragrance collection. Back to Black by Kilian. Smells like honey. And coming in at number 1 is from the house of Amouage Jubilation 25. And this is my number 1 fragrance for the wintertime. Definitely my number 1 recommendation. And it's absolutely beautiful. What's interesting about this fragrance is that I find it very hard to wear this fragrance in spring. I find it very hard to wear in winter and for most of fall. But once winter comes along, this is the number 1 fragrance. It is quite rich. It has boozy undertones to it. Has a lot of this stanky oud and patchouli that give it this dirtiness, but it's counterbalanced with sweet notes of like honey, berries, and that contrast just works perfectly. It's quite syrupy, quite rich, quite decadent, very opulent, and that works perfectly in the winter time. It's an oud fragrance, so it does have that very exotic Middle Eastern, rich, wealthy feel to it. And it's my number one fragrance for the winter time, Jubilation 25 from the house of Amouage. And there they are, guys, my top 10 winter fragrances for 2014. Thanks for watching this list. Tell me if you agree with this list. Do you have any of these fragrances in your fragrance collection? Are you curious about what they smell like if you haven't smelled them before? Which ones smell good? Which ones don't? Which ones sound good? Which ones don't? Thanks for watching once again, and go out there and smell well.